Do you hate and wish to destroy this world with your own hands?
Let's assume, just assuming now, that every time I roll the dice, there's a possibility of achieving this particular outcome. Then I would be quite happy to make that wager.
So yeah, he wants to destroy the world or die, whichever comes first. In many ways, you can describe Aventurine's life as a coin. After Aventurine was recruited as a Stoneheart by the IPC, he continued to take increasingly risky gambles, even when the situations didn't necessarily call for such dangerous tactics, including that one time when he got himself trapped to an electric chair by an Imaniko warlord and playing Russian roulette when handed a gun by said Imaniko warlord. It was for this reason that Diamond chose him to go to Penacony. Aventurine might die for real, but isn't that what you've been longing for? As predicted by Diamond, Aventurine purposely chose a plan that involved his own grand death in Penacony. First, he recruited the cooperation of Ratio in the infiltration of Penacony by putting a loaded gun into Ratio's hands, pointed it at his own heart, and pulling the triggers 3 times. After they got to Penacony, Ratio vouched for Aventurine to Sunday, but Aventurine had to hand over his stone heart to Sunday to be admitted. And he did do that, except he smashed his own stone heart to pieces and bundled them together with a bunch of other random jewelry. Effectively, it was a double bluff. The first layer of deception was Aventurine handing Topaz's stone heart to Aventurine in the suitcase. Ratio, who would play the good cop in this game, would betray Aventurine by telling Sunday of the plot. This was a planned distraction for Sunday, who found himself smart and powerful for calling out the Topaz bluff and forcing Aventurine to hand over a green stone heart, did not suspect that there was a second layer to the bluff. Ratio's betrayal was fake. Ratio was working with Aventurine all along. The green stone heart handed over was Jade's, and the Topaz bluff was merely a distraction for Aventurine to sneak in his real stone heart as pieces among the jewelries. However, this plan is not without risk. Said risk was being executed by the IPC for smashing his own stone heart into pieces, which, as we can see the myriad trailer for the 10 stone hearts, nearly did happen. Which was, apparently, a disappointment to Aventurine, because you can't look at his face right here and tell me he wasn't gunning for the execution verdict. Man was outright disappointed. Anyway, back to the Penacony plot. After Aventurine successfully sneaked into the Sweet Dream, he and Ratio went on a quest together to crash the economy by flooding the market with the sheer amount of credits he pumped into their auctions. With a classic pump and dump scheme right out of Wolf of Wall Street's, Aventurine and Ratio started a price war together in the Gilded Hours, leading to massive inflation, bank runs, and many pepusher jumping off from buildings. Of course, this was a dream, and they couldn't die for real, but the aggregated emotions did manage to summon something unto death. Yes, the 2.2 quest lied to you by omission when they implied that Gallagher was responsible for the something unto death. The reality revealed in 2.3 lorebook and the 2.0 TV event is that something unto death is a part of the dreamscape border, born when the sweet dream under the family's control is expanded. Originating from the primordial dreamscape, they are mimetic entities that eat negative emotions, and some of them are used by the family itself to clean up the sweet dream. Gallagher, the fictionologist who compulsively lies, is not something unto death. As such, Acheron comparing something unto death to the necrosis of dreams is correct, and this is actually what Aventurine and Ratio have been trying to do here, crashing the Penacony economy. Invoking massive negative emotions among the pepusher bankers, all to investigate something unto death. With their economy down the drain, the Pepeshi's negative emotions summoned something unto death, which stabbed one of the bankers and brought them to dormancy at the primordial dreamscape. At the end, due to the economic instability, the Alfalfa family had to approach Aventurine for negotiation. But that was not the end of his scheme. Unfortunately, the something unto death summoned did not stab Aventurine himself, but a random banker, so Aventurine hatched up another scheme to get himself slashed by Acheron. someone he suspected to be an emanator of nihility or finality in 2.0. First, he sent some secret letters to Robin to talk Robin into investigating the something unto death, and this, of course, led Robin to get stabbed by the something unto death in his room. As a result, Aventurine became a suspect for Robin's murder, getting him cursed with the harmony effect that would have melted his brain into that of the family. Thanks to Sunday, it is from here on out that we can clearly see Aventurine's the happy prince mentality. While under the effect of Sunday's Tang power, Aventurine was giving away cash to people for clues. Uma, an NPC, directly called Aventurine Oscar Wilde's The Happy Prince. In The Happy Prince, the prince was a human, but he died and became a statue covered in gold and gems, losing his human heart and gaining a lead heart. The prince has noble character and gave out pieces of himself, gems and gold, to the suffering town people one by one until he died, leaving nothing but the broken lead heart. So yeah, that's Avon, giving out cash to the NPC and gems to Sunday the mayor. The town in the story is a happy town where no one is supposed to suffer, but the reality is that people suffer anyway, exactly like Penacony. By the way, the other main character in The Happy Prince is the Swallow. The Swallow was a traveler from afar. He reluctantly helped the prince deliver the gems and gold at first, but he fell in love with the prince and his noble character during the course of the story. The Swallow told the prince about the tales of faraway places, but in the end, he chose to stay by the prince's side and die alongside the prince. In his final moment, the prince asked the Swallow to kiss him on the lips, and the Swallow did so and died. As a result, the prince's leaden heart snapped into two, and then he died too. The next day, the mayor and the town decided to melt down the ugly statue with no gold leaf or gems. However, the prince's leaden heart refused to be melted. God then asked the angel to bring him two most precious things in the happy town, which were the broken leaden heart of the prince and the bird. Oscar Wilde was very gay, and that's why the prince and the swallow were both male and kissed each other on the lips. And Ratio, the person who helped Aventurine with the Sunday bluff and regain his broken heart, is also bird-themed and has another Oscar Wilde reference in his story. Just saying. In Honkai Star Rail, the event is a smite different in that the bird is an owl, and he told the prince to live on, albeit still with a bird-themed item. It is noted that the prince and the swallow are inserts of Oscar Wilde and his lover, Alfred Douglas, respectively, with Wilde directly stating himself as having a lead heart, while imprisoned for defending his love that dare not speaks its name. So with the Happy Prince reference, Hoyoverse writers have shown that in addition to the Roma culture, Aventurine is also modeled after the life of Oscar Wilde himself and the Schopenhauer aesthetics, the Happy Prince mentality that Wilde himself followed. I will probably make another video to explain this later. This has gotten too long. At the end of the Happy Prince plot, Aventurine was slashed by Acheron, forcing him to confront his nihilistic tendency. From the discussion he had with Acheron, it is shown that the suicidal streak of Aventurine is real. It's not just for the high of the gamble. Every time he gambles, he wants to die. Even in that gamble for Acheron to stab him, he wanted to die, actually planned on dying, and not just to call out the family's bluff. The drive of the Happy Prince was that he genuinely wants to die, in the hope that he would finally be free to love a love that dare not speaks its name, and be happy in heaven with his family. But at the end, in the horizon of existence, Aventurine was guided by Nietzsche Acheron and told off by materialism Ratio to overcome nihility and choose not to die. In opposition to the happy ending in The Happy Prince, where both the swallow and the prince embraced love together in death, the not-swallow Ratio told the Happy Prince to live on, because there are still things Aventurine need to do in real life. The only heaven is one that can be built on earth. After all, Aventurine's revenge isn't gonna achieve itself. He still wants to destroy the world after all. And from the Boot Hill scene at the end of 2.2, it seems like he's back to his peppy self, cooking up another plot against Oswaldo Schneider. While half of Aventurine's motivation is to die, the only way to freedom in the ID part of his mind, the other half is to, frankly put, destroy the world, presumably for revenge. Aventurine's life can be summed up as a gamble. Every time he throws his coin, how it lands determines his choice between death and life. Ultimately, it can be said that Aventurine is a smash-up between inspirations from Roma culture and history and Oscar Wilde. Whether he chooses death or life, it is clear to us, as the audience, that his fundamental drive is to be free, free to live, free to love, free to be free, no matter the cost. But what about you? What would you do for 30 tanba? What price would you pay for freedom?